and welcome back. Today is day 19 of my cold water advent calendar. So today we are going south, and this was part of a trip that we took down to Glasgow. Now, if you've been following since day, can't remember, 2 maybe, I was talking about how when we were going down to Glasgow, we had to stop halfway for a swim in order to kind of charge me up, which I found incredibly helpful. So it was quite interesting to now be able to travel down to Glasgow and just do it in a oneer and not be concerned about that, and actually be able to stop and do a big walk on the way. So that was pretty cool. But on this occasion, I think we shot all the way down to Glasgow. We had some things that had to be done, quite a lot of things, quite a sort of busy things that needed doing. And then we got to the weekend and we thought we needed to stay an extra couple of days, where we'd been planning to head back up at the weekend. So we thought, right, well, we need to get out and do something, because we can't stay here all weekend and be cooped up, because that just didn't work, especially in Glasgow, which is sort of big and busy, whereas spending a weekend cooped up in Inverness, it still feels less cooped up. So we decided to head down to the Dumfries and Galloway, because that was somewhere that I'd wanted to go, and we'd had all sorts of trips planned before getting sick, and then obviously they hadn't happened, and we thought, well, we could, it was a bit of a drive in each direction, and we had a walk that we had planned that was a bit kind of open-ended. So it was like, well, we head up there and then we might go there, and we could go down there, and then if we get there we could kind of go there and and then back that way, kind of thing. And we didn't expect to do most of it. We sort of thought it was going to be, basically we were going to see how I felt. I think up to this point I'd been able to do more and fitness had been increasing, but I'd also been very careful. Or I've been trying to be very careful to not kind of push too hard at any edges. I'd not been like, yeah, we'll just do all the things all at once, because I think, I was still very much kind of wanting to be careful, not wanting to push too much too soon and all of those things. I think I was just a bit scared. And also, trying to build up my fitness as well. I think there was obviously an element of that. Anyway, long story short, we got down there, started the walk, felt pretty good. And the walk, we dropped down to this loch, which is Loch Enoch. And it's quite remote. The roads around there are absolutely tiny for miles and miles and miles and miles, but also this loch is kind of in the middle of nowhere. To get there, the paths are not that great. Even the good path in is not that great, and we didn't take the good path in. We went a bit more roundabout. So we dropped down to there, and it was just such an incredible spot. And if we'd got there, we always planned to swim there. But the ground around there is not, if you leave the path, beware anyone who leaves the path around there. The ground is absolutely hellish. So we walked out to this really cool point on the loch, and the ground was absolutely hellish. And I was just like, I said to Malky, I'm swimming back. So I sort of got all my kit off, got in the water, handed all my clothes to him, and he walked back to the sort of semi-path, and I, got in the water and swam back. And he just thought this was absolutely hilarious, because he was like, why did you go to all that effort to swim when you could have just walked? And I was like, well, I was going to go in the water anyway, and actually the ground around there is it's just really uneven and off path and everything. Anyway, it was an absolutely incredible place to swim. It's a really weird shape. It's got kind of like tentacles and, it looks, from above, it looks like it's got all sort of like little, tentacles and little beaches. And it's just in such a beautiful spot, and it just felt amazing. And we ended up doing, the sort of longer version of the walk that we didn't expect to do. And ended up getting back to the car like super, super late, and ended up in McDonald's in Ayr at 11 o'clock at night because that was the only thing that was open for food, which was not where I was expecting to end up, but there you go. It felt like an adventure. It was the first walk really, where I'd just kind of let go and I'd not been worrying, I'd not been overthinking, and as a result of it, I'd done much, much more. But, you know, I was tired afterwards. Like, of course I was tired, but like, I just felt so elated to be able to go off and do those things again, where you just kind of like put a pin in a map, off you go, and you don't really think too hard about where you're going. That real sort of adventure, I don't know where I'm going to end up kind of thing, that I'd just missed so much because I'd had to be so careful about what I was doing or what I wasn't doing, and, you know, over planning and having so many options and all these things because you have to. So yeah, it felt pretty awesome to let go. But yeah, also a pretty incredible spot for swimming.